Hey everyone! How's it going? Who's here already? We got Zula was first. Hey Kai, Lady Natbug, Cosma, Flo, and Bill. I recognize everyone here. Sort of, yeah. How's everyone doing? Hey Mike, howdy? Howdy. Chad? Yes. We'll get started with the class right at the top of the hour. All of you are early. Today will be an advanced level lesson, but it's a really useful form, I think, despite being advanced. I think you're going to hear this one, and I think you might use it yourself. If you're a beginner, you're still going to hear it. You might be able to use it even. Let me think about this. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. A high beginner could probably still use this, I think. It's pretty useful, but it is a little bit difficult because you could just not use it. Like, you don't have to use it. You can still make your sentence without it. That's why I classify it as an advanced form. Also, it's less common than beginner forms. So yeah, that's why I'd classify it as advanced, but I don't really think it's like advanced, like rare or difficult or anything like that advanced, just a little bit less common advanced, but still really useful advanced. Yes. So this level will be for pretty much everyone. Did you know howdy is a question? Of course. Howdy. It's like, hey, but it's like, hey, like, how are ya? Yeah, how do you do? How do you do? Howdy. Although we don't really say that in California. I'm sure they use it all the time in Texas and places like that. But yeah. Ari, welcome. Flo says, missed the last couple of weeks due to basketball games. Interesting. I'm glad to be back here. Nice. Today, I think the only thing going on today is it's May the 4th. So it's Star Wars Day. First, I don't really care. I haven't really been a big fan of Star Wars since the original ones. I still really like the original ones, so I consider myself a Star Wars fan, but I haven't liked anything since very much. Some kind of. But it is Star Wars Day today. Tomorrow is Cinco de Mayo, I believe. Yes. It's also Buddha's birthday and Children's Day too, I think. So you got a lot going on. Yeah, so if you're in Korea, Monday, you're going to see, well, actually you already maybe have seen some events for that, but they'll have like parades and stuff like that for Buddha's birthday. And then Children's Day, you'll do some activities at school. But if you're just touring in Korea, you might not know either of those are going on. Maybe Buddha's birthday, you could stop by stop by one of the temples while you're there. Other than that, yeah, some stuff going on though. Hey Keith, welcome. Have you had Hanu beef? Is it worth the hype? Yeah. So if you are used to having prime USDA beef, you're not going to be too impressed by most regular Hanu, I would say. You'll try Hanu and you'll be like, okay, tastes good. However, If you go to an actual restaurant that has like nice quality Hanu, yeah, it's good. But it's not like on the level of like they don't do the same process that they would do for like other types of high quality meat. Like if you're familiar with like the Japanese Wagyu style, not Wagyu as the breed, but actually like the type that you might get like in Kobe beef or something like that. It's not that type. That kind they go for maximum marbling. That's not what Hanu is. Hanu is like really beefy flavor with nice marbling, but I'd say it's equivalent kind of more like a nice quality prime. But the reason I would still say it's worth it is because when you eat a steak, like a prime steak in the US, how do you eat it? You just eat it, right? You might put salt and pepper on it, maybe ketchup if you're weird, or steak sauce at least or something. You just cut it up and you eat it with sides. You just eat the steak. It's not how you do it in Korea. It's part of the meal, just like you would eat regular meat. So you're going to have it with sides. You're going to like wrap it up in the lettuce. You're going to put it with the other side dishes and stuff. You're going to take a tiny little piece and dip it in this, the next piece, dip it in that. So it's more of like an experience, like you're slowly eating the meat versus, a steak we have in the US where you just try it, just eat it. So yeah, I think it's really good. And if you eat it like that, the Korean style, it tastes better because you're enjoying it more slowly. Like you're forced to enjoy it more slowly. And then a lot of the places actually will cook it. If you have a place, they might cook it in front of you or they'll prepare it right before they bring it out to you. But you get more aromas, you get a better atmosphere, and it's really good. I've only had it a few times. Like it's kind of expensive, so I've only had like special occasions, but I've tried a lot. I've tried Haengsung, I believe it is, Hanu, which is considered like the highest, the most famous type of Hanu in Korea. I don't know if I'd say it's the best in Korea, but it's considered to be like the most well-known. And that's really good. I've had some nice restaurants that serve it. I went to a fancy restaurant once. My brother-in-law took me there in like Itaewon. It was like this upscale restaurant where like chefs come out and everything. And it was good. So I think as long as you get it at a nice place, you're going to have a good experience. We had presidential elections in Romania today. Nice. How'd those go, Cosma? Evrim, welcome. Lady Natbug, Billy, tomorrow is my birthday. You know what that means? That means it is your birthday today. And it is already your birthday today in Korea. That's what it means. You're not living in the right time zone, Lady Natbug. It is already your birthday. Happy birthday. That is cool. Klasky asks, have you ever been to Amsterdam? No, I've not. You always wear this cap. Amsterdam. I don't even know where that is. where is that? Let me check. I was like, I know the name. I know I've never been there before. Netherlands. Okay, I was like, it's somewhere in Europe, but I was embarrassed to ask. So Netherlands. I'm not embarrassed to ask Google though. I've never been to Europe. Period. Maybe someday. I would love to take a vacation someday. Billy, silly request. Would you sing 생일 축하합니다. 생일 축하합니다. 사랑하는 Lady Natbug. 생일 축하합니다. But they don't do the and many more on channel 4 or Scooby-Doo on channel 2. They don't do any of that in Korean. It's over. It's pretty boring. Will I sing it to you? No. I'm not going to sing it to you though. Let's see. Mikey says that makes it sound more interesting. Yeah, I think it's a different type of experience. But if you just take a slab of Hanu and a slab of prime beef and cook them the same, you're going to have trouble figuring out which is which because it's just meat. Like the cow being from Korea makes no difference. It doesn't have, it's a different breed, but is it better? No, they don't make it to be like extra marbled like you would have for like the Kobe beef or something like that. It's just good quality beef and the cows are fairly happy, I'd assume. I just think that a lot of the Korean beef you get can tend to have more of a beefy flavor, not gamey, but like beefy, which is good. So you might notice like, oh, this one has a little bit stronger of a beefy flavor. But other than that, you wouldn't really be like, oh, this is way better. It's just that it's the way that it's presented and served. It makes it a special experience. In the Netherlands. Okay. We have 2 election steps. First, we can vote anyone in the final between only 2 candidates. Okay. Netherlands is very nice. I would love to visit Europe someday. Someday when I can afford it, but that day is not today. Have you been to France? No, I've never been to France. I've never been to Europe. Period. I'm gonna start saying that anytime anyone asks me, Billy, have you been to this country before? No, I've never been to Europe. Period. Billy, have you been to France? No, I've never been to Europe. Period. Have you been to Germany? Have you been to No, I've never been to France. I did study French for j'ai étudié le français à mon lycée pour 4 ans et à mon université pour I can't even speak it. Like, it sounds horrible. But I could understand it fairly okay. Believe it or not, I could kind of, like, if someone's doing a vlog in French, I can understand most of it. If someone speaks to me, I can understand if they're asking something, but I can't speak it. We never really did much speaking practice in French class, but we did do a lot of listening practice and reading practice. But I've never been to France. I would love to go there someday. I think that would be like so cool. Just as, like I've said this before, I just want to eat your food, take all your bread, all your croissants. Nothing is safe. If it's edible, it's not safe. And then leave your country in ruins with no food. That's my goal. I would like to do that someday, but we'll see. Tu parles bien français. Oh, merci beaucoup. No, yeah, thanks for the nice, for being kind to me, but I know how I sound. I actually prefer, though, not trying to speak it normally. I prefer exaggerating when I speak. Maybe because I'm so bad, I can hide my poor French by exaggerating. I can say, tu parles bien français. That's how I prefer to pronounce it. Much more than my actual accent. Si je parle comme ça, c'est très bien. I don't know the word for better. It's like, I forgot the word, like, most basic words. But if you told me, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's the word. Popping in random. Okay, Kyled. Cleaning the house today, so I can't stay for the lesson, but you guys have fun. Well, you're missing out on a great lesson because this is an advanced topic that is really common, I would say, and useful. As long as you're, like, everyone that's at least a high beginner is going to get something out of this form because it's really cool. I like this form a lot. And I'm surprised I never taught it before. I mentioned it once, briefly at the end of a different live stream. And that's it. I don't have a lesson about it. So I think I actually finally made like a Learn Korean episode about it. And that's it. But I don't have like a bunch of lessons or book lessons. So I'm surprised I didn't do a live stream about it already. Do you know Bangladesh? Yes, I've heard of it before. I've never been there before. Never been into anywhere over there. I've never been on that entire continent before. I would like to someday. Jihoon says, today is Children's Day. Yes, that's right. Monday in Korea, or I guess technically today, is Children's Day. Haha, tu exagères quand il est un accent allemand. You sound like German speaking French. Yes, that's not bad. I'll take it. I'll take the German over sounding like an American. Another Milkus lemonades. Oh, hey, Mikey. Thank you. You know what I'm drinking as soon as I get to Korea? There are actually two things I want to have right when I get to Korea. One is going to be that. That'll be a drink I'll maybe have like the second day I'm there. Get a haircut, relax, make that drink. The other thing I really want to have is I just want to get jjajangmyeon again because they have it in the US too. I could get it here if I go down to like that area of Koreatown. But it's really expensive here. It's like you're paying, $15 just for the jjajangmyeon, and then you want 탕수육. Well, that's like $30. Oh, you want to get mandu with it? Oh, that's another $15. Oh, like it's just like it's not worth it at that point. You're paying $50 to get a full meal. No. It's better in Korea. You can get a whole big meal for like $10, including like some sides. You can get 탕수육 for another we'll say $10 because some don't have the smaller ones. But yeah, for $20 you get this gigantic meal, like you can't even finish it. So I just never eat it here. I always eat it just when I'm in Korea. So that's one of the first things I want to get to. Priyanka says, catching a live for the first time. Welcome. Do you know German? No. I do not know German. The only German I know is the lines from the medic in Team Fortress 2. If you say if I visit Germany and everyone's just shouting out "Jawohl," and stuff like that. Guten Tag. I'm good. I would understand 100% as long as people are restricting what they say to that. Yeah, no, I don't. Bought one of your books, but first time tuning in live. Nice to see that energy. Welcome, Julien. Or I should say, Julien. I'm guessing you're French too. Rammstein lyrics. I'm not that good. I've got the Team Fortress 2 Medic, but I haven't gotten to the Rammstein lyrics level of German yet. So I guess if I'm planning on visiting Germany, I'd probably learn that next. That would be the obvious next step in language learning. Do you like flying Korean Air? Yeah, if you can afford it, but okay, my answer on this changes every now and then, because there are alternatives now that there weren't before, but the alternative quality goes up and down. So right now, the answer is yes, but you pay for it. So if you are okay paying the extra money to take Korean Air, yes, you get what you pay for. Would you go about to learn the Hangul alphabet first or just learn simple greetings? No, I would learn the alphabet. If you have any intention of actually learning the language beyond just like tourist phrases, if you have any intention of going beyond that, yes, alphabet first, 100%. If your goal is you're just visiting Korea for a week and you don't care about learning Korean at all, and you don't even care about going back there again, you just want to have a quick trip, no, don't bother. Don't waste your time. Just learn like hello and thank you, and you're good. You don't even need to ask how much is it. Just hello, thank you, I'm sorry. No questions, you're good. You can get by with that. But if you actually want to learn the language, yeah, 100%. Pammakol, really? I have no clue what that would taste like. I'm not interested in it either. Julian says German here. I'm sorry. I assumed you'd be French because everyone that has a name that starts with Julien sounds French to me, but I guess it could be Julian. I don't know how you would say it in German. I don't speak any German. Is it normal to feel like you're not improving? I feel like I only notice a difference if I look at older things I've written or things I've seen before and didn't understand. Yeah, that's the only way you're ever going to tell if you're improving or not is by looking at older things that you did, which is, I'm actually going to be making a video about this as well. But if you don't have any record of what you've been doing with your Korean learning, you'll have no way of telling if you're getting better or not. And in the very beginning, you don't need anything. But as soon as you learn past like basic phrases, you have to start writing down some stuff. You have to start recording yourself speaking. Like turn on the microphone app on your phone and just record yourself saying a sentence or two and look at it again in a month and do the same thing and compare. You'll easily tell. You're like, wow, oh wow, I'm way better. But in the very beginning, you don't need to do anything. You can tell right away, like, oh, I didn't even know that word last week. But as soon as you get past the very, very basics, you have to be doing something like that. Is it easy to find halal food in Korea at all? I wouldn't say easy, but there are lots of restaurants that have that kind of food. But I wouldn't say easy. The bigger the city you're in, though, the easier it's going to be. So the more crowded the area, the easier. Litosphile says, love from Goa, India. Welcome. Priyanka says, I've been to Korea in March. I do know Korean to some extent, but even I felt tourists could easily get by without Korean. Yep. Specifically tourist spots. Yeah. In tourist spot, I will actually extend it. Literally anywhere you're ever going to travel in Korea by yourself, if it's your first time in Korea, is going to be a tourist spot, whether you know it or not. You might think, oh no, I'm going to visit this place. That's not a tourist. It's a tourist spot. They're going to be okay with you not speaking Korean. What's not a tourist spot? Someplace that's not on a list of places to visit. So if you're thinking, well, I'll go to this market. It's kind of off on the side of Seoul. If it's on like a list of places that people recommend visiting as a tourist, it's a tourist spot, even if it's not the most crowded. They're going to be fine with you not speaking any Korean. I mean, sure, they'll probably speak Korean when you walk in, but when they realize you don't, they're just going to be like, okay, whatever. And the majority of Koreans anyway speak English, at least very basically. They all speak it. They can all understand it basically. So you're not going to have a problem anywhere you go in Korea. That's not to say don't need Korean in Korea, but as a tourist, you actually don't. So knowing Korean, though, will unlock a lot more stuff you can do. But yeah, nowadays you're fine if you don't know any Korean just to visit Korea. And there are lots of people, I know a couple that live in Korea and don't learn Korean at all and can't speak it. Like they've been living there for like over a decade, can't even introduce themselves. It's possible. If you really try to avoid learning Korean, you can do it. I know you can do it. Please don't do that though. But yes, it's possible. Julia can be Italian, written Julia. My name is Julie from France. Julian says, planning to move to Korea in July. Wow, I'll be there in July. Any tips and tricks for someone who visited there a few times but never lived there before? Tips and tricks. Like what kind of tips and tricks? Green Tea asks, is it fine to pre-write stuff to record audibly? Yes, that's fine. Totally fine. If you're talking about what I mentioned where you're going to look back at something you did before to compare it, yeah. You just want to be able to hear yourself say something. I used to do that also with back when I was studying Japanese. So this was before Korean. I carried around a little audio recorder. And when I was doing my studies, I would read the sentences from my book. I didn't write them. I just read the sentences from my book that I was copying. And then I would listen to those again a few months later. I'm like, oh, wow, my speed's getting better. My pronunciation's getting better. This time I actually understand it my first time. That sort of thing is really going to be useful. Moana says, it's in Daejeon. Moguan University. Daejeon it's not the countryside, but it's spread out a lot more. You're going to need a car there, or you're going to have to be doing lots of buses. And I really like the city. I don't know if there are many halal restaurants there, though. I'm sure there are a few because it's a pretty big city. I just don't know where. But if you search them, go on Naver and search Daejeon halal restaurant or whatever. I'm sure you'll find some. M. June says, my struggle in Korean establishments in the US is that even when I speak Korean, I tend to get responses in English. Yeah, that's going to be the same thing when you go to Korea too, because Koreans don't think you actually can speak their language, even when you start. And it gets better though, as you get more confident and you know what things to say. But that's just a normal thing, is when you first try to open your mouth to speak Korean with a new person, their reaction is, why is this person speaking Korean? Do they actually speak Korean? They probably just memorized that phrase. I want to be helpful to them. I'm going to use English. So that's what's going through their head. Like, I just want to help them. Oh, wow, they're trying to speak Korean. That's so cool. I'm going to help them and speak English so that they can feel like they had a good job. They don't think you're looking for Korean practice. They don't think, oh, they want a free Korean tutor. I'll be their tutor. That's not what they're thinking. They just think they need help. I love that they tried. Let's do this. The way to get over that is, I hate to say it, but when you get better, as in when you get more fluent, your pronunciation gets faster, all of these things as they go up. Like here you are, you could speak Korean pretty good. You might even be able to have like full conversations. Like you're good. You can do lots of stuff with Korean now. But they're expecting they want you to be like up here before they're going to stop trying to speak Korean to you first. Because if they think you're here, if you're here, they might think in their mind that you're actually here because they don't know like exactly what your level is. They just assume you're trying your best. But when you get a little bit higher up and you start like preemptively adding extra things before they can reply in English, they're going to be like, oh, this person is like, they're not trying to use Korean. They actually just use Korean. I'm just going to speak Korean because that's easier for me. And there still will be exceptions though. Some people, even like with me, my Korean's not perfect, but even with me, if I start speaking Korean, sometimes they'll speak back to me in English, but that's for a different reason. That's because they see, oh, this guy speaks Korean, but I really want to speak English. I'm going to speak English actually to practice my English. That's what you can get at that level. But the regular, what most of you will experience is not that. It's going to be, oh, wow, they speak some Korean. I don't know how much they speak. I just want to help them. And they'll speak in English. But if you continue to speak in Korean, they'll go back to Korean unless their English is really good and they might prefer to use English with you. They're just going to default back to Korean eventually. But you're not going to get your best practice in Korean with random people at a store anyway. You're not gonna be making your best friend from the worker at the convenience store because you spoke Korean when you asked them to microwave your chicken every time, or when you ask them where's the water. Like, that's not where you're gonna make your Korean practice from. So don't worry about it. It's your acquaintances, your actual friends and people that you regularly interact with that are gonna give you your practice, not the random person on the street. So don't be upset if someone you're talking with at a restaurant or a store doesn't want to speak to you in Korean. That's not where you're going to be getting your Korean practice anyway. BB, welcome. Okay, so we're going to get started with the class today. First of all, I'm doing a quick poll. Next Sunday, there is no class, but I will be doing a live stream. Would you prefer that I do a regular Q&A where we just basically what we're doing right now, just talking, hanging out, or would you prefer I do another Korean hotline where you would send me questions and I would answer them during the live stream? I did this once before. So it's up to you. Either one, I'll pick one and I'll do that next Sunday for our class. So I'm just having a poll right there. Feel free to vote which one you'd prefer. They're kind of similar. It's just a hotline. I mostly ignore the chat except for the questions I got. And then the Q&A is where I'm only in the chat. So, okay. While that's going on, let's get started with our lesson. This is an advanced lesson, but it's pretty common and I think it's fun to use. So even if you're a beginner, I think it's fine to learn and even use yourself. So don't worry about it if you don't feel like you're advanced level yet. You're still going to be able to use this form, maybe. The form is 건영, and it's very easy to use. The way it works is you take a noun and then you attach the topic marker. So the topic marker is going to be un after a consonant or nun after a vowel, right? So let's just take for a quick example, let's just do 집, un, and then you attach with no space, 건영. I don't have space here, so I'll just put it there. Or let's do 학교 for school. 학교는 건영. And you're done. So noun, topic marker, 건영, no space. There are no spaces in this. I'll leave this up just for a second. Then we'll talk about what it means. Very easy to make, right? That's really how easy it is to make. Julian asks, what's the best way to make Korean friends? If you're in Korea and if you're not in Korea, it's a different answer. Which one do you want to know? For in Korea or out of Korea? Koreans might be reserved sometimes when it comes to foreigners who don't speak Korean fluently. Yes, but you can still make friends. So let me know that and I'll answer your question. Okay, so what this means is you are denying something. You're saying no, but not only are you denying something, which is this noun, you're saying this noun, no, but you're also denying something that's even less than this noun. So what it means is basically like, if we have a as our noun, a는 or a은 건영, we're saying not a, but not even anything less than a. It's used to say that something, in this case a, has a very low chance of happening. Like, nah, I'm denying that, nah. And anything that comes after it has an even lower chance. So if we were to say A konyoung B, for example, and B is whatever comes after it, it means, well, obviously not A, but also not even B. And B is something not even as much as A. So not A, obviously not A, but not even B is what this form literally means. Again, you're denying something, but you're also denying anything that's below it too. So so for an example, you might say like, never mind dinner, I couldn't even eat lunch today. So dinner is your main thing. That's like your fancy dinner, but not even dinner. Nah, not even dinner, but also something lower, even that, even lunch. So you can translate this a lot of different ways. Let me clear the board. You can translate this as, I'm just going to write them down. Far from that, like not even that, let alone, like I couldn't eat dinner, let alone lunch today. Never mind dinner, I couldn't even eat lunch. Forget dinner, I couldn't even eat lunch. So, like, forget the new Switch, I can't even afford a game like that. Never mind the Switch, I can't even buy one of those games. It's, again, something is being denied, but also you're denying something else that's even lower than that. You're saying not even that. So forget that, not even that. I'll leave this up for just a minute so you can write it down. That is all of the explanation that you need before we can actually start doing this form. So I'm just going to leave this up here for a minute. Konyoung reminds me of cats randomly. Yeah, it is kind of cute. Konyoung. Ariaka. You just missed the explanation, but you'll see it. It's noun plus topic marker plus konyoung with no space. That's how it's used. Jason says, true story. Yes. Julian says, in Korea. Okay, so Julian is asking, what's the best way to make Korean friends in Korea is by going to meetups. So you can download an app. If you're living in Korea, you're going to have a Korean cell phone, which means you can access certain apps that you cannot unless you have a Korean phone number. One of them is called 소모임, like small meeting, 소모임. And you can download that in Korea. There's another one, I can't remember it right now. I can't remember the name, but there's another app that's similar. You want to look for basically 동호회, which are clubs, like meetings of people who share hobbies. And they have some of the most popular types are running clubs and bicycle clubs. So that's, if you don't know any hobbies, if you don't have any hobbies or interests that you think you might share with Koreans, just join one of those. They'll have meetups like every month or every few weeks or whatever, where you just meet up. You don't have to like do anything specific. You just meet up and you do the activity together. Like for the running ones, you just meet up. They say, hey, everyone, welcome. And you do running. And after you finish running, some people stay around, talk with each other. They might get dinner or they might get drinks or whatever. And that's pretty much all you do. You may or may not make any friends that way, but you give yourself an opportunity to. Another one would be you can attend English study groups. I've been to a few of those just for fun. They've been fine. I didn't make a single friend. I went to several. I didn't make any friends, but I did get a lot of practice and it was fine. You could go to photography meetups. You can go to hiking meetups. You can go to singing meetups. Like they have meetups for anything. That's what I would do in Korea. Because you can do the regular methods that you would do outside of Korea, but those ones are like really quick ways to find someone that you might have stuff in common with. And did I make any friends? Yeah, I actually did. No, thinking about it, I did make a couple acquaintances from, no, yeah, one friend, I'm going to be meeting him again this time. Another acquaintance, I'll probably be meeting her again this time as well when I go to Korea. To at least 2 people that I can message with, and from going to meetups like that, just show up. Hey, like, oh, you're from America? Yeah. Oh, how come you speak Korean? Like that. Cool. But then you talk with them, you realize you have some stuff in common, and then you hang out. I would do that. Okay. And if you don't have those apps, you can still do what I said by looking for neighbor cafes, because they also will have groups that are formed on a cafe and then they do the group communication over Kakao. And other ones are just completely done through the like the Somoim or other apps like that. So yeah, I still do that today. I'm planning on doing a few more meetups this time when I go to Korea with my spare time. They usually don't have too many meetings anyway. Jeff, do you do private tutoring for beginners? Technically, yes, but right now, no. So you can ask me that again in August after I'm back from Korea. And yes, I probably will restart it again. But I don't usually think you need to do a tutor for Korean. I think you can just learn it free on the internet pretty much nowadays. You don't need to hire anyone necessarily, unless that's your preferred style. Okay, so let me give you the first example. Okay. Read this yourself once before I go over it. 너무 바빠서 저녁은커녕 점심도 못 먹었어요. 너무 바빠서, 바쁘다, to be busy. So because 바빠서, because I was too busy, 너무 바빠서 저녁은커녕. So here we have 저녁, dinner. 저녁은커녕. Again, of course, not dinner, but also not this, which is less. So what is this less thing? 점심, lunch. Even lunch, 못 먹었어요. I couldn't even eat lunch. So I couldn't eat dinner because I was so busy. I couldn't even eat lunch. You can translate this as I couldn't eat. Actually, we can say, never mind dinner or forget dinner. I couldn't even eat lunch because I was so busy. Or I couldn't even eat lunch because I was busy, let alone dinner. You can say it like that. Any way you want to translate it, or would we say it the other way? I couldn't eat dinner because I was too busy, let alone lunch. I think we would say it like that with the second one after. 너무 바빠서 저녁은커녕 점심도 못 먹었어요. So I couldn't eat lunch because I was too busy. I couldn't even eat lunch, or I should say, I couldn't eat dinner because I was too busy, let alone lunch. It's tricky to translate, but you get what I'm going after, right? This one is the main one that's definitely not. And the second one is like not even that, even though that's less. So in this case, the dinner is like the main thing and the lunch is the secondary thing. Okay. Never mind dinner, forget dinner. I think never mind and forget are easier ways to translate since you can do it in the same order as the sentence. Never mind dinner, I was so busy I couldn't even eat lunch. All right, I'll leave this up for just a minute and then we're going to go on to our next sentence. How about when you're not in Korea? Well, Julian's asking the questions. I'm going to take the question from Julian. Julian says, thanks for the insight. I'll give that a shot for sure. Sounds fun overall and a nice mixture of activities. Yeah, they have clubs of people who will meet up and do the bouldering. I know groups that will meet up and just do like hiking, like they'll just go different hiking locations. And each group will have its own rules though, so just pay attention to that. The groups might have like, oh, you can only do this for the rule, or that some groups will have membership fees that you have to pay. Not expensive or anything, but just to like weed out members. Some groups will do more spontaneous meetups. Like they're all different, like what you would expect. But I think that's a good way because a lot of them are like, they're doing the groups for this exact same reason that you're doing them. They are also doing those sorts of groups to meet other people and have fun. So, yeah, try it. Trying to think of the other one for the groups. There's another group app that's fairly popular. If you search on Naver though to find out like 동호회 apps, you'll probably find the other one I can't think of right now. Okay. Club Box, is it? Box? Something. There's something else like that. I can't remember it. I feel like the word club is in it. 여행은커녕. Before I write the rest of the sentence, what do you think I could say with the rest of the sentence in English? Or if you want to try guessing in Korean. 여행은커녕. What could follow that? Write it in chat. What do you think could follow that? Okay, so for next week, for next Sunday, most people want a Q&A. So I think that's fine. I think we'll do a Q&A then next week. And then maybe I'll do a hotline then after. Okay. Not to mention, yeah, that's good too. I didn't even think about that. Couldn't eat dinner, not to mention lunch. Sure. Or I couldn't eat lunch, not to mention dinner. I don't know what the better order is for that. Forget the holiday. I can't even afford going to a restaurant. Yeah. 여행은커녕 평소에도 쉬지 못하는데요. Sure. 돈이 없어서 맥주는커녕 소주 한 병 못 샀어요. Okay. I guess that's true because soju is fairly cheap in Korea, whereas 맥주 could be more expensive, where it's the opposite in the US. So I had to think about that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, because soju is pretty expensive here, but it's cheap in Korea. Yeah, I can't even get a week on. Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah, Keith, yes. I don't even leave the house. Okay, I think you've got it. I think you understand what this is for. That's why I think this form is fine for beginners to learn, because it's really useful and straightforward, even though, yeah, it is, less common than other forms. Okay, so 여행은커녕. Messed that up. Okay. 보러 갈 시간 없어요. And again, you could change this with whatever you want. 여행은커녕. So forget a trip. 부모님 보러 가다. To go to see my parents. 부모님 보러 갈 시간. Time to go see my parents. 도 없어요. I don't even have time to go see my parents, let alone take a trip. 여행은커녕 부모님 보러 갈 시간도 없어요. I don't forget traveling. I don't even have time to go see my parents. I'll leave this up for a minute so you could write it down, and then we'll go on to our third and final sentence for this form. There's another usage of 커녕 though that you'll learn. Don't worry, it's easy. The other usage is also really easy. Yes. Okay. One thing though that's cool is even if I go to a meetup and I don't make any friends there. Let's say like I meet a few people, we talk, we have fun, but I don't make any friends. I still got like 4 hours of Korean practice, like real Korean practice, not like talking with a tutor like, hey, what did you do today? I ate this. What did you do? Like legitimate, real conversations. And you get to safely eavesdrop on other people because they're all in the same area usually. You get to hear other people talking to each other. You get real conversations that way. So it's great. And even if I didn't make a friend, like I remember going to a meeting and I didn't make like a friend there, but then later I met the same guy at a different meeting and he's like, oh, hey, Billy, long time no see. And it's like, now I have a friend, even though we don't communicate. You just get to know other people, which is cool. 부산은커녕 시간이 없어서 용진까지 못 가요. You can't even go to 용진. June says, bad,커녕, more bad than talking about example. Sure. 여행은커녕 부모님 보러 갈 시간도 없어요. You can also use this with nouns that come from verbs. So how did we do it with a noun? We take a noun and you take a noun and you attach un if it ends with a consonant or nian if it ends with a vowel. Well, 기 ends with a vowel, so you attach 는, 커녕, and you're done. That's how you use it with verbs. The same way you use it with nouns. So 하다, to do, would be 하기는 커녕. Every verb works like this. Super easy. No exceptions. Can't get any better than that. Again, the exact same usage, but now instead of saying far from noun, now it's far from doing. Forget doing, never mind doing, like that. Hope. Hey, Hope. Are there any other grammar forms that have a similar meaning? Yeah, you can. There's a slang version of how you can express this. It's not in the lesson, but you can use. I'll tell you, just for you, Hope. You can use 되다 for un or 는. Sorry, I wrote that really messed up. 됐고. You can be like 여행은 됐고, like forget that. But this is more of a actually like saying forget or I don't care about. Because 됐어요 means like no thanks or forget something, like don't even worry about that. Yeah. So it's not quite the straightforward form that this is. Like this doesn't have to be like you're actually disliking something. This one's more like, forget that. And it's only going to be for like informal or casual speech. But yeah, it's not really a grammar form though. It's just you're saying 됐어요. You're just saying forget that. Literally, that's all you're doing. You could also just say straightforward, like for our other example, 너무 바빠서 점심도 못 먹었어요. Like you don't have to say forget dinner, I couldn't even eat lunch. You could just say I couldn't even eat lunch. That's it. You've expressed the same thing. Or you could say 저녁은 못 먹었지. 점심도 못 먹었는데. You could be like that. Like, of course I didn't have dinner. I didn't even have lunch. You can just say it straightforward. This form adds more emphasis. Like, of course that, not even this. All is one nice piece. But you don't have to use this form to express, like, not that, not this. You can just say it straightforward. Hello, Billy. I'm new to Korean and I've been watching your videos to help. You're very helpful in my Korean journey. It's been 1 month now. Nice. Lady Notebook said, Hopegate is psychic again today. That's right. Okay. Again, the way it works is exactly the same. But now we have verbs. However, when you are using it with verbs, the translation will change a little bit because you don't usually say, forget locking the door. 문을 잠그기는 커녕. You're not going to say, forget locking the door. You're going to say, maybe far from locking the door. So you might translate it a bit differently, but it's the same expression. 활짝 is wide open. 활짝 열어놓고 you 열어놓고 you open it and you leave it. So you leave it wide open and then 놓고 and then 나가다 to leave. 나갔네요. So they left the door wide open and left. Like far from locking the door, they just left it wide open before they left. Or I should say, they just left it wide open and left. 문을 잠그기는커녕 활짝 열어놓고 나갔네요. Far from locking the door, they left the door wide open before they left. 문을 잠그다. 잠그다 is to lock the door. 열다 is to open it. 열어놓다 is to open it and leave it like that. 나가다, to leave. Okay, I'll leave this out for a second. Educational Moose. This is my first time joining a grammar form live stream. Welcome. I always watch the abridged ones. Well, I usually cut out all the fun stuff for the abridged because otherwise it would be too long. I just keep in the lesson, like the most important stuff and the sentences, and that's it. 참여하기는커녕 눈이 겨우 뜰 수 있어요. Like far from participating, I can barely open my eyes. I'm not quite sure what it is you're trying to say. Like I can barely even open my eyes. I'm not participating. Is that kind of what you're saying? Okay, let me do another sentence. But that's pretty much all there is to this form. Actually, I don't even have space if I do this. I'm gonna have to write it down here. The problem with this form, though, is that there are no spaces, so sometimes you have really long things. Although I could have added a space here. Okay. 주말에, on the weekend, 놀러 가다, to go play, to go hang out. 놀러 가기는커녕. So forget going out to play on the weekends. 아파서, because I'm sick. 아파서 잠자다, to sleep. 잠만 자다, to only sleep or to just sleep. I only slept. All I did was sleep because I was sick. You know, I was sick. So far from going out to play on the weekend, all I did was sleep. 주말에 놀러 가기는커녕 아파서 잠만 잤어요. So forget going out to play on the weekend. I was so sick. I was so sick that all I did was sleep. Again, it's the same form. Going out to play on the weekend. Is that? Of course it's not. Of course, no way. But even this, which is not that, is also no, which is, in this case, nothing. All I could do was just sleep. Like, of course. What's up with my voice? I guess I'm going through puberty a little bit late, but of course, on the weekend, I couldn't go out to play. So I was just sick and I slept. So yeah, that's pretty much it. As in super tired. Ah, okay. You might want to be like, 너무 피곤해서, like, because I was so tired. 눈을 뜰 수도 없었어요. Like, I couldn't even open my eyes or something like that. 소설. Oh, George, small typo. 소설. 읽기는커녕 실력이 엄청 약해서, 엄청 낮아서, your level's really low. 만화도 못 읽어요. I couldn't even read, so 만화도. I can't even read a comic book because my level is so low. Forget reading a novel. You got it. That's exactly how the form is used. Yes. Yeah, or here we're denying. In this sentence, we didn't even mention a second part. We're not saying, like, I couldn't do this. We're just saying nothing else, basically. The important part is, of course, I'm denying this first thing, but even anything less than it is also denied. But that thing that's less than it doesn't have to be mentioned in the sentence. In this case, it's not. You could say, 아파서 I couldn't do something, but the other sentences also work the exact same way anyway. If you say 너무 바빠서 저녁은커녕, that's it. I'm so busy, forget dinner. Like even anything less I couldn't do. So 점심도 못 먹었어요. I couldn't even eat lunch. But it's not like you have to use the two parts to match with each other. You could just say, like, forget dinner, I couldn't do this, or I didn't do this, or all I could do is this. It doesn't matter what the second part is. The first part where you have 커녕 already establishes that that's the main thing that's completely being denied. In case you're wondering, like, why isn't there like a second part with this, which they're saying they can't do? You don't have to. It's just, it's all expressed within 커녕, which is why I think this is a fairly simple form. Because if you can convey the forget that part, your sentence is already going to be good. You don't have to worry about like matching it with the second part of a sentence. Okay, last sentence for this form. 고기를 많이 잡기는 커녕 한 마리도 Oh, I got a donation. Let me check that in a second. 못 잡았어요. Do I have space? Yes, here. Got a donation from, oh, Flo. Flo Purdy. Thank you, Flo. There's still some room here. Flo says, I'm glad to be back here. Donation. Did you miss? Wait, you were here? You came back though? Welcome back, Flo. It's good to have you. Oh, and then another donation from Calperloperseatheroper. I can't read your name. How would you say, how much is this worth? Cow. I'm just gonna write cow. So it depends what you're asking about. If you're talking about a single item, you're holding one thing, and your how much is this worth is like how much is this valued at? It would be the same as you're asking how much is something, which is just, actually I shouldn't write the same color. You would just say 이건 or 이것은. I'll just write 이건, and then 얼마예요 is pretty much all you need to do. 얼마예요? 이건 얼마예요? How much is this? If you're just holding something and asking how much is it. But if you're talking about like a coupon or something that stores an amount of value already, like how much is this coupon or how much is this discount or how much is this card worth or something like that, then you would add 짜리 to the end of this. After 얼마, you'd add 짜리. 이건 얼마짜리예요? How much is this worth? If it's something that has a stored value in it already. And there are other ways you can ask. You can also say about how much would this be? But we won't go into all the different ways you can ask about the price of something, but 얼마예요 is going to get you where you want to be. Water meat. Yeah. So that's actually correct. The reason that, okay, the word 물고기. Actually, let me do the sentence first and then I'll talk about 물고기. So, 물고기를 많이 잡기는커녕. 물고기 is a fish, a live fish. 잡다 is to catch. So, forget catching. 많이, a lot of fish. So, I didn't catch a lot of fish. 한 마리, one animal counter, even one fish. 못 잡았어요. I couldn't even catch one. Forget catching a lot of fish. I couldn't even catch one. 물고기를 많이 잡기는커녕 한 마리도 못 잡았어요. Far from catching a lot of fish, I couldn't even catch one. 물고기 actually does mean water meat. Originally, 물고기 was used to refer to the like all of the fish. So it would be live fish and cooked fish, I believe. There's some other origin of it. Actually, let me see. I think I actually even bookmarked it before I tell you anything else false. Where is that? News, culture history, bulgogi, articles. Is that here? Hold on. Do I have? I know I saved it, but I can't find it right now. Anyway, but that's the reason why it's pronounced as bulgogi when you read it, because originally this word was bulgogi. This 의 is shortened in a lot of words when they combine. It gets shortened to this, which is just to add an extra emphasis onto the next consonant to make it a strong consonant. So it's the reason why it's pronounced as bulgogi. And you could have seen it written like that as well, but it's actually now it's just written like that as one word, but it's pronounced still like bulgogi, literally water meat. So that was because you have other stuff, like you'll have 소고기, which is cow. 소 is a cow. 돼지 고기, which is pig meat. Cow meat, water meat. Yeah. And then there's something else where like all meat used to be called as a specific type of meat. I can't remember. There was an interesting article I remember reading and then forgetting all of it. But that's the basic part of it. So if you're wondering why is it pronounced as bulgogi and not bulgogi, that's the reason why. 생선 is cooked fish. Yeah, 생선 is cooked fish. 물고기를 많이 잡기는커녕 한 마리도 못 잡았어요. Although if you search that on the internet, if you're ever curious about knowing more about a word, there are two words I want to teach you. 어원 is like etymology. It really means like the word origin. 어 is word. This is kind of like etymology of a word. 어원. But I found that if you search for 어원, you might not always get the best answers, even though that's the word. So you can do 유래, which is like the history or origin of something. So if you search a word and then 유래, you'll find, like if you search 물고기 유래, you'll find like the how the word evolved and where it came from and stuff like that. I recommend searching on Naver. Don't really bother on Google for some stuff because Google just doesn't show you enough stuff, but Naver will have it. Or if you're brave, you can also find most of the stuff just on Naver Dictionary by using the Korean version of the dictionary. Okay, so that's how you use 건영. But there's one more form that can also be used in the same way, and that is 고사하다. 고사, here used as 고사하고. So the way it works is you take a noun and you attach the topic marker again, but then you add a space followed by 고사하고. And it works in the exact same way as 건영. Or if you have a verb, what do? You change the verb into a noun by attaching 기 to the verb stem, 는, after that, and then 고사하고 with a space. So the difference is that there's a space. That's the biggest difference. But everything else works the exact same way. So this form has the same meaning and the same usage as 건영. The only difference is this form is more formal. It sounds more fancy. As such, it is much less common. But you might see it. I've never seen it. You might see it though. I mean, you might read it. It's just rare. It has the same usage. So I'm going to give you just one sentence as an example. If you want another one, my worksheet on Patreon has another one. You don't need another one. But the Patreon also has other examples of the konyeong, which are useful. Those are actually useful though. Okay, I'll leave this up for just a second and then I'll give you the example sentence for this one. Oh, Hopegate is asking, is it the same thing going on with the pronunciation of umur? No. So that one is a different reason. And actually that's in my pronunciation cheat sheet. So I have now published 12 free, completely free, really, yes, free, cheat sheets from everything from the alphabet to sound change rules to colors, particles, verb conjugation, adjective conjugation. And my sound change rule cheat sheet has advanced sound change rules on it as well, which are ones that you don't really need to learn as a beginner, but they're here because some people are like, well, wait, what about that word? So I put them on here. That's a different rule where certain syllables that are originally from Hanja, as in like ka as well, meaning price, can sometimes be pronounced with a double consonant when they're not at the start of a word. You just have to learn those individual syllables that commonly do that, but they don't always do it. But I listed about 12 of the most common ones that I see that do that. So yeah, like kwon, like the word for passport is spelled as yo kwon, but it's pronounced as yokwon. Why? I wish I knew, but at least you can know which ones do that. So that's in the sound change rules cheat sheet. Again, 100% free. You can download this exact sheet, print it out for free. If you want to join the paid version of Patreon, which is, it starts from $1, please do if you can, by the way. Paid version has a higher quality PNG version if you want to print it out larger, but for a single sheet of paper, the free one's fine. Yeah, verb conjugation, markers, particles, postpositions, colors and varieties of colors, telling the time, descriptive verbs and action verbs into adjectives, which are a lot of rules you normally have to memorize, numbers and how to make really large numbers, all of the common counters, the entire Korean alphabet, writing syllables, how to write all the dates and the seasons and time and all that stuff. Yeah, so they're all free. There are 12 of them. And I have some new stuff coming out too. There's something new coming out. I'll announce it in a second after we finish this sentence. I'm going to share with you a project that's coming out. Before I announce it, before everyone else knows about it, I'm going to tell you guys. Hey, like sashimi. Yeah, I wouldn't say hey is the same thing as sashimi because of how it's prepared, but it's the same thing. Yeah. Okay, 시험 공부, test studying. So studying for a test. 시험 공부는 고사하고. Again, 시험 공부는 커녕. Exact same. That hurt. Exact same meaning and usage as 커녕. 숙제, homework, 숙제도. Even the homework 못했어요. I couldn't even do the homework, let alone study for a test. 숙제는 커녕. 숙제. Why am I like, I'm trying to go to 커녕. Anyway, 시험 공부는 고사하고 숙제도 못했어요. I couldn't even do my homework, let alone study for a test. 시험 공부는 고사하고 숙제도 못했어요 is the same thing as 시험 공부는 커녕 숙제도 못했어요. It's just a bit more formal sounding and less common. That is the lesson. I'll leave this up for just a minute. Let me take a thumbnail image, actually. Oh no, I'll have this on the screen. It's okay. I'll have this on the screen for the thumbnail image. Okay, that's the thumbnail image. Yes, the cheat sheets are downloaded from Billy's Patreon. Yeah, they're on my Patreon page. I'll post that here. If you can support me on Patreon, I really appreciate it, but pretty much all my stuff is free, except for the books that I make. Those I charge. But except for my books, everything I do is free on my channel. And I have another free project coming up, which I'm going to share with you guys early. So let me clear this off. This is secret, okay? So I know nobody's watching right now, so don't tell anyone, okay? Don't tell anyone. You guys can keep it secret, right? This project is going to be coming out. If you're a Patreon member, you're going to get this project next week. No, let me check. Maybe this week. Hold on. It might be this week that you guys get it. Oh my goodness. You get it. You'll get it this week. This week on like Wednesday, you're going to get this full thing. If you're not a Patreon member though, you're not going to know about this for another week and a half. So I've been working since January. I have been making a okay, who uses a notebook to study Korean? Everyone, you probably have a notebook, right? Maybe it's right in front of you right now. You all have a notebook that you use for studying Korean. And I did. And is it organized? No, it's not. I can answer that question for you. It's not organized. Now, there are a couple things you can do. You can go on the internet, you can order like a study notebook, right? You buy like a notebook they have divided into sections. You know, oh, this part you can do grammar, this part you can do vocab, and here's where you write your notes. They write down the date and the topic. There you go, your study notebook. Cool. But the problem is when you're studying, say you're only doing grammar that day, and now you open up your notebook and there's like a small spot for grammar and you don't need anything else. You're kind of like wasting pages just to do one thing. Or you're like, oh, today I'm going to study Hanja, or today I'm going to practice my Hangul, and there's no space for it. So I decided, I've experienced the same thing. I want a actual study notebook that I could, recommend to people. But the thing is, you can't buy a study notebook that's adaptable to different types of learning. Basically, what you have to do is you go online and you would purchase, some people might sell templates for study guide pages. Like they might have 3 or 4, or one website has like 2 free and you buy another pack or something. And they all have different designing. They all have different designs. None of them really incorporate all the types of learning, and none of them were tailor-made for Korean. See what I'm trying to sell you, right? It's actually going to be free though, but I'm still going to try to sell you on it anyway. I'm going to be releasing, you can't see this too well. I'm going to be releasing a full 13-page, yes, Korean study guide template. So there's one for vocab quizzes, taking vocab. There's 2 versions for vocabulary. There's like one where you can have full notes. There's one where you can just do vocabulary, no notes. There's a grammar only one. There's a sentence practice one and a shorter sentence practice one. So see, I'm trying to take it, I'm trying to work with everyone who has a different style of studying. You might want to write sentences and take notes, or you might be like, no, I just want to write down sentences. You got both. Hanja, it's here. 2 kinds. There's one where you can do the practice with like the full size character, writing down the name of it and everything. And then there's another one, just practice with the characters only. There's some notes on here because I worked on these a lot. There's one for just writing down Hangul, which is pretty much just a grid, but it'll match. There's a time tracker for keeping track of everything you're doing, how long you spent studying, what you studied. Again, also free. And then there's a general daily study sheet, which has room for grammar, notes, vocabulary, a little vocabulary quiz, like all that kind of stuff. This is like the general one if you don't do too intense study, you just want something. Kind of like what I was saying you could probably buy. And then if you want just general note-taking paper, there's a grid and there's a line for that. And yeah, there are 13 different pages. These are also going to be coming out free. Patreon members will get this, I think, on Wednesday. Everyone else will get it the next week, probably Thursday or Friday. But yeah, so that's another reason why you should join my Patreon. Again, this will be on the free tier, so you don't have to pay anything for it, but I recommend joining my Patreon at least, because then you get to find out about this stuff early. That I've been working on since probably January, because it took a long time to design, and I made a lot of versions of that. I threw away all the design pages though. There's just this thick stack of stuff I'd printed and then tried it and been like, I don't like that, or it's too thin, or you can't see it. So I made it that you can print it out on any type of printer. So you can use an inkjet and make it look really nice. You can use a laser jet and make it look okay. You can print it out at the store if you want to make it look all professional or anything. You can print it out black and white. So it's really simple designs. So, and they all match. So that way you print out whichever ones you want and only as many as you want and make your own perfect study notebook. Yeah. So anyway, they will be PNG images. So you can print them out. Just click download. I don't know if it's PDF better. Did you include space for hole punching for notebooks? So, yes, but you would punch it at the end. So I'll show you one of them. They all have the same border, if you're wondering about that. So I didn't make it like where one of them goes to the end of the page or anything. I knew that some people are going to not want to write on the edges. So I'll just show you really quick the standard notes. So this is just the graph one. Like I said, nothing special, but that at least your graph will match. There is about 3/4 of an inch space at the end. So if you punch it at toward the edge, yeah, there's space for holes. But you wouldn't want to punch it like all the way in here or else it'll go into the notes paper doesn't really matter, but for the vocab it would. So if you're going to do note punching, I would say maybe like there, you'd have to go right in kind of the middle of there. I don't know if I should release it as PNG or PDF. I don't know. PDF's better. I stuff a bunch of ripped out pages in an accordion folder. Yeah, I mean, Keith, if I show you my study notebook, it's not really much better than that. Let me see if I have any. Okay, here. Well, this was from, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago when I was studying some idioms. I know you're not gonna be able to read it, but I would study some idioms and I would write down the idiom. I'd write down the meaning of it. I'd write down example sentences that I found. And that's it. It's just literally, sometimes I'd write down definitions or notes, but it's really just note paper. Like, I mean, it's okay. It works, but it's nothing special. So in that case, what I would do is I probably would use the sentence. Actually, no, I'd probably use the daily study one for that. And I would write down the form in the very big part at the top. And then I write down notes about how it works. And then anyway, you can choose however you want to do it. But like this kind of works, but then it's really frustrating to go back and review it because I can't find the one that I want to review. I'm like, oh, where was that one I wanted to review? No clue, because I didn't label them at the top or anything. I didn't write down which order I learned them in. I don't know whether it's an idiom or whether I wrote down a vocab word. You do a poll for PM? Yeah, sure. That's a good idea. I released all of the cheat sheets as PNGs and JPEGs. That's because of the, because they're images. But let me see. Let's do a poll. Actually, it wouldn't be PNG. It would be JPEG, realistically. Because they're not that big, so I think I'd do JPEG. Before my iPad, I think I had 6 or 7 notebooks and then a little file folder for loose stuff from various things. Lady Natbug, though, if you think there's not enough space for hole punching, let me know. I can probably shift all of them over a little bit to the right if that's better. I just didn't really think about that. But if you do use hole punching, would you be able to print it out from a PDF better? Because if you don't do hole punching, I think it would be kind of annoying if they're all shifted to the side. But if you do, then you'd want to make sure you have a lot of extra space. So I'd be curious to know your feedback on that. Do you know of how to study Korean? Yeah, I do know of it. I've never used it, so I can't tell you. Is umyo the same as umyeonso? Nope. Scrambled eggs on toast. I've done a live stream about umyo before. And I also have an upcoming course, which has a lesson about that as well. No, that is more like, if you want to compare it to another form, it's more like the ko, like and. It can be also used to say while doing something, because literally it does have that meaning. So if you're talking about can 음료 mean while, like 음연소? Yes. But other than that, it doesn't overlap besides that. And if you're using it for while, it's less common than 면소. I have a bunch of crappy notes like this. I don't take much nowadays because indeed it's a pain to look back on. Yeah. That was what really made me want to do a notebook, is because I have so many notes that they just sit in my closet and do nothing. They just rot. I can't even review them because what are you going to review? Like, I'm looking back on just like a page full of vocab. Like, what am I going to do with that? It's like vocab mixed with sentences. It's just whatever notes I was doing for the day. So I made a new video about how to use the study notebook pages as well. And I gave some tips also for how to use notes. But one thing I mentioned is to keep track of what you're doing. So use a daily study page and then organize your study notes by the topics and the types, not by the day. So if you do one day of studying and say your study day was, you spent 10 minutes doing Hanja, you spent an hour doing grammar, or no, you spent like 10 minutes doing grammar, you spent an hour doing vocab. Then you have all these vocab sheets and one grammar sheet and one sheet for Hanja. Keep those all separate together. Like, keep the vocab sheets all together, keep the grammar all together, because then later you're going to say, hey, I want to review that grammar form. You're not going to have to sort through like 100 sheets. You're just going to see a pile of grammar and you'll be like, oh, okay. Oh, and find the day. Like, oh, I think I studied it that day. Boom, there you go. You can even use the daily study sheet like a table of contents, staple that together or paperclip that together. And then you can look through there to find, oh, I think I studied it this day. Yeah, that's right. Find the day for the grammar. So yeah, I recommend keeping them separate like that, but that's not something you can do with a regular notebook because it forces you to keep it all in one stack. So that's kind of why I thought, a better study notebook is actually not a study notebook, but it's individual pages that you can rearrange how you want. I was just guessing that most would keep their papers in a notebook to keep it organized. You can, but then the thing is you have to also remember that they should be separate. So if you put it into a notebook with hole punches and then you're going to remove it after you finish studying and rearrange it into different notebooks, then that's fine. But what you don't want is just to print out the ones you use for the day, put them in an order in a notebook, and then turn the pages, because then they're going to be not really so useful for reviewing. So you'll eventually want to have your vocab ones organized together with your other vocab ones and your grammar ones separate like that. So if you print out a notebook of just the grammar ones or just the daily study ones, and you print out another notebook of just vocabulary ones, that's fine. But I wouldn't print them out and use them in order in the day. So in that case, maybe you don't want to hole punch them, but you do you. Let me know how they go. If you think you found a way that you really prefer to have them hole punched, I'll go in for you, Lady Napbook, for you, I'll do it. I'll go into my files and I'll make a hole punch version of all 13 and I'll send them to you. Well, I'll upload them as an extra file where it'll be the exact same thing, just where they're pushed over like an extra half an inch or whatever to make it easier to do hole punching. I'm fine with that. One sheet per novel with all the new grammar, idioms, and important vocab. Yeah. Like the idea behind this was everyone learns differently. So you can't really make one notebook that's going to count for everyone's learning styles. For me, most of my studying is just vocab. Like there isn't very much grammar that I need to go back and study. It's just vocab study and sometimes would be sentence study. But then there is no such thing as a notebook that's for that type of studying, because even if I get a notebook for vocabulary, which I have some vocabulary notebooks you can buy in Korea made for Koreans who are studying English. Even if you buy those, they're either going to have lots of space or they're going to have no space. And sometimes you want both, right? Sometimes you want an example sentence next to your word and sometimes you don't. So what do? You buy two notebooks? No. So I figured, it's better to give something that you can adjust. You can pick which ones you want. Or today I feel like just studying Hanja, but I don't need the big one. I already know how to write it. I just need to write it a bunch of times. So I used to buy graph paper. In fact, I still have it in my closet. Graph paper for studying Hanja. And I would have to draw the lines myself because I didn't have like the actual practice paper from Korea or Japan. I didn't have any of that. So I would just draw the lines on graph paper myself and then practice the hanja like that. So this is kind of, this will save some time for that. Umyo and umyeonso are not the same. 한국 가르쳐 주세요. I just did. Did you miss my lesson? Did you miss the entire lesson? If it's shifted for the hole punchers, it won't bother me as a digital note taker. So I would still release it as a separate version though, because if you print it out, then it would bother me seeing all of the pages slightly shifted to the right for no apparent reason. But I already have multiple versions of the other ones anyway. Like I said, there are two vocabulary ones. There's one where you have space to write sentences and another where you don't. So I'm fine making yet another version, which is for hole punch. Yeah, tabs are good. So far removed from digital note taking. If I had a tablet that worked well, I would do digital over physical easily, because you can do OCR on digital, like the character recognition, and you can search, which is like incredible. That you can you write your notes digitally, and then you can later go and search through your handwritten notes. So I would do that. But because I still do everything traditionally. When I'm studying vocab, I make flashcards. Although nowadays I make flashcards in Anki for Korean. But if I were to go do another language, I would go back to paper flashcards like that because it's easier for me. I just can't with Korean because there are too many words in my Anki deck. There's like 7,000 something. I appreciate that, but I would ask you don't do that just for me unless it would be helpful for others. Okay, well, you can when I make the post, you can leave a comment on it. If other people say they also would like that, I'm fine making a second version. It'll take me, honestly, it would take me 30 minutes to do that, including the time to save all the files again and upload them into a new zip file. So it's not that big of a deal. My favorite things with digital notes is the ability to tag things and find them easily later. Yeah. I agree. Digital layers so I can hide things like answers. So I actually have one of the sheets that I made. I don't think many people are going to use it, but it's something that I would have used. One of the sheets is a quiz. So you're supposed to, it's like if you don't have Anki or you don't use that, you just want to quiz yourself. It's a way to quickly quiz yourself. You fold it, you put a piece of paper over it, you write down the definition, you go to the next one, you write it again, like that sort of thing. And then you can do that up to 3 times with the words. If anyone uses this, let me know. It's something I would have used, but I know most people these days would just use a flashcard program. That's fine, but it's here if you need it. Yeah, personally, if I were studying now, I would get the vocab sheets, both of those, and both of these sentence sheets, and the time tracker. Those 5 things is what I'd probably use for me. Notability will even create a quiz based on your content. Oh, that's really cool, actually. Wow. See, that's a useful use of AI. I don't know if they do that with AI, but that's still really cool. Sometimes I miss the aesthetic of handwritten notes. So I would too. Astera, I would too, if not for my handwriting being atrocious. There is no aesthetic of my handwriting. I just prefer handwritten because they work better. Because you get, I think I saw someone mention the word muscle memory. Keith says, we keep the muscle memory of writing. Yes, exactly. The muscle memory is why I prefer physical notes, because you learn, like you're learning it, and then you write it down. And when you're writing it down, you're often like reading it to yourself and saying it out loud. You get extra benefit to that. So that's why I prefer that way. Kai, donation made paid. Oh, Kai. Thank you, Kai. Let me see. Did I get the note? Yes, I did. Thank you so much, Kai. Hold on. I'm going to rewrite Cal's name over here because I put it over there because of a sentence, but now I can put it back. Kai, thank you for the $15 donation. And Kai says, I'm currently sick, chained in this basement, but used my few minutes of unsupervised time to donate. And thank you for your hard work, Billy. Oh, it is a Adobe working on some new updates so they can further break their program. Gotta issue a new update so that it doesn't work with the new graphics card. And then we can issue an update later that fixes it. Something like that. Hopefully they'll let you out at least for lunch. Yep, it's AI. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with AI for certain uses. There are some uses for it that are bad. Like with Korean learning that I've seen, like, don't trust it. If you ask it questions, don't trust the answers. If you ask it to make you sentences, don't trust those sentences. But it's still really useful. And if you're able to, if you know that, and you take everything it gives you with a grain of salt, it's a really cool tool. Like you can say, hey, let's have a practice Korean conversation together. And it'll do it. And you might not know if its sentences are correct, but it'll at least give you feedback if what you're saying makes sense. So you can like talk with it, do the microphone feature, and it'll at least tell you if what you're saying makes sense, which is useful. In the past, before all the AI stuff, people would do that using the Google Translate transcribe feature. You turn on the microphone and you would speak to it and then see what it writes out and and then translate that and see if it makes sense. That's how you could check if what you're saying makes sense. But now you can just do that directly with AI, which is cool. Yeah, that happens every time there's an update. Sarah says, I use an Apple Pencil and I have a paper feeling screen protector. So it's still handwritten. It just isn't paper. Oh, that's the best. That would be really nice. Sounds like Adobe giving you the disease. And yeah, there's actually a... There's a Korean idiom. Making sure I got the spacing right, because some idioms will have their own spacing rules, but yeah, that's correct. 병 주고 약 준다. 병 is disease, so 주다 is to give. So 약 is medicine. You could probably understand this sentence. 병 주고 약 준다. It's an idiomatic expression in Korean. I don't know what the equivalent in English would be, although Keith said it. Basically, they cause the problem that they solve. So like someone, they make you sick, but they're like, oh, here, let me help you. I'll give you some Tylenol. It's like, oh, dude, it's your fault. 병 주고 약 준다. That sort of situation is, and it's pretty easy to memorize this idiom too, because it's simple words. 병, 약, 주다, and you're good. I think it's called paper-like. Okay. If you use your tablet for anything else, it'll be a really weird feel. I imagine. I like when AI is wrong and you call it out, then it corrects itself and it's still wrong. Yeah. Don't bother telling it it's wrong. I learned that too a few months ago when I started trying to see, can I get some funny answers out of it? So I tried to give it some basic questions, and I posted some on my YouTube channel if you've seen. If you ever say, no, you're wrong, it'll be like, oh, of course you're right. I didn't think about that. And it'll give you an answer that's just as wrong as before or worse. Don't bother. If it gets something wrong, it's not because it made a mistake. It's because it actually knows it wrong. So if you say, hey, it's wrong, it's going to still get it wrong because it still doesn't know. Just if you see an error, just be like, oh, okay, it doesn't know that. It's not like a person where you can fix its mistake. Oh, you are right. I should have done this. No, it's going to do the exact same thing again. So currently there aren't any AI tools that I would wholeheartedly recommend because of that. But it still does have a lot of fun uses. So one thing I can do is right now I'm doing a new Korean course, and it'll be coming out in a few weeks. There will be a book as well. I think I briefly showed you the book last time. I'll show you again. It's thicker than it looks. This was originally closer to 300 pages, and I squished everything and made it down just over 200. But it's a new book about all the sentence connectors in Korean. There's like over 250 sentence connectors in 20 lessons. And this will be coming out later this month, so in a few weeks. But for this, all of the sentences come with native audio recordings. So I always like to do that. The thing is, there are over 1,400 sentences. It's a lot. It's a lot to check when I get the files, to check them all one at a time to make sure they recorded it correctly. But that's a use of artificial intelligence that's really cool, because I can give it the audio file, I can give it my script, all of the sentences, and say, check, tell me if any were said differently. And it's like, there you go, they're all good. And I mean, the person I'm having doing the audio files is great. They sound great. So, and they're reading it nice and slowly, so I don't think there are any errors, but this lets me check them without having to listen to, 1,400 sentences would take quite a long time to check, and I would go insane, and I would probably miss if there were actually an error anyway. So that's a really good use of AI. Not that I trust it 100% still, but it's kind of like, it gives me a set of AIs to look over it. It helps. Yeah, it saves time, but I still check them when I'm editing it, but I don't have to check it twice. So it saves time. XXXanthic says, I've been using AI to practice short conversation. Totally fine. But again, know that it's going to give you strange answers, and know that you won't know that. So don't take notes on the sentences it gives you. I'll say that. Use it to practice conversation, but don't take notes on what it tells you, because it's very awkward. It doesn't have enough Korean sentences in its database even to make natural sentences yet. It still sounds really awkward. It'll make sentences that when you translate it back to English, you'll be like, oh, I see, that's perfect. But if you read it in Korean, it's like, what? No one says that. And yeah, it's not quite despite all the cool things that AI can do, it's not at a level where it can replace a human for conversation practice yet. My granny used to say, it'll cure what you've got, and what you don't have, it'll give you. Yeah, it sounds like something your grandmother would say. She was a nice lady. She still is, right? She still is. Does 여쭤보길 잘했네요. Yeah, I'm glad I asked. Well, it would be you. It's good. Well, actually, 잘했네요. I did good. So let me try to explain that. So literally, 잘하다 means to do something well, to be good at something. Now, if you write it without a space, it also has that meaning. But when you use it when you do it with a space, it also does that meaning. But 잘하다 without a space is used like you're good at something. Good at doing. So 잘했네요 can also be used to say good job. But it doesn't actually mean like, hey, good job, you did great. It's more like it was good. That someone did something. Like you did it, you did the right thing. You can kind of think of it like that. You did the right thing, or I did the right thing. 잘했네요. So it's good that you are kind of praising yourself, but it's not like how you might think of it in English. Like, oh, I am so proud of myself for asking. It's not that. It's more like it was good. I did the right thing by asking is what it means. So that's the nuance that it has. Like, I did the right thing by asking. Like, yeah, you're praising yourself, but it's not quite like a boast sort of praise. 물어보길 잘했어. It's good I asked. It's good you asked. I'm glad you asked. It would be the same. But you wouldn't use... So the thing is, 여쭈다 is a more humble way of asking. The regular way of asking is 물어보다. So, how do you think you would say it's good you asked? 물어보길 잘했어요. Or 물어보길 잘했어. 물어보길 잘했어. It's good that you asked. Like, thanks for asking. That sort of thing. Okay, I'll take a couple more questions for today. And then again, next Sunday, there is no class, but I will do a Q&A. So we'll take questions and we'll talk a bit because I'm going to be in Korea the very end of this month. So next Sunday will be just a Q&A. The next Sunday after that will be a class. Like we'll do another, a regular Korean class about some topic. I don't know yet. And then after that, I won't be doing any more live classrooms until August once I'm back from Korea. So yeah, that'll be the last class will be in 2 weeks. To be fair, even the English sentences use vocab and sentence structures that aren't wrong per se, just not the way a human would speak. It's thus recognizable as AI. Yeah. Although I have found the English sentences, like if you ask it anything creative, it does a really good job at doing creative stuff. Like, oh yeah, when I was organizing another good usage of it was I was organizing the colors on my color cheat sheet. So I had the whole thing finished. All the colors were sitting in my program in one line, and I didn't know how to put them on the page. I had the color and the information and the vocab all there, but I'm like, how do I organize colors? It's not like the primary colors, but I also have things like gold, silver, beige, all these kind of, in-between colors as well. Turquoise. How do I organize those? And I had kind of some organization, but I'm like, let me just ask ChatGPT. So I wrote all the colors I have in English. How would I organize these colors on a cheat sheet that has, 5x4 is what I originally, or like 3x5. I can't remember what I was thinking. And it's like, well, here are 3 ways you can organize colors. And it would say, if you do it this way, this is how I'd organize it. If you did it this style in a color wheel, I would do it that. So I was able to talk with it and have it give me some ideas for an order to put the colors that would be kind of visually pleasing. And I ended up settling with, I said, okay, give me whatever would work for a grid. And it's like, okay, we'll do these and these and these. Okay, well, what if I have this many columns instead? So it was really useful for that. Now I wouldn't use it for getting the actual color names because it would give garbage for that. Really, it would just give random stuff. But for the color organization, great job. I really liked that experience. I think that was it though. That's the only thing I used. Yeah, that was the only thing I used AI for these cheat sheets was the organization of the colors. And it did a good job with it, I think. But if you were to go and ask it, give me a list of Korean colors, it's going to give you these garbage ones. It'll give you wrong ones. It'll give you like 2 versions of the same color and not tell you it's the same thing. I'll miss the classes. Well, Cosmo, we'll still do live streams when I'm in Korea. I'll travel somewhere fun, but I can only do these classes when I'm in the States. So yeah, next Sunday will be a Q&A. The next Sunday after that will be our final live class until August when I'm back from Korea. Mark says, do you usually go live at specific times? Yes, it is 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on pretty much every Sunday, although classes aren't every Sunday. So next Sunday, again, there's no class next Sunday, but I'll do a live stream next Sunday. Will you be streaming in real life content in Korea? Yeah, Kat, I'll probably be doing live streams where I visit a place and we walk around together and talk. I usually do that. Suwon Fortress is one of my favorite places to go to when I'm in Korea because it's not far from my house, but we'll see. We'll do something while I'm there. Okay. Any last questions for the live stream? Okay, I see most people want PDF. So I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to release it in PDF. You got it. I wasn't planning on releasing them in PDF, but the people have spoken. And then, yeah, for Lady Natbug, let me know about if you prefer to do it with the hole punches. And if it's not big enough, if there's not enough space to do it, let me know or make a little comment there. And if other people agree with you, I can make another version of that as well. Totally fine with that. Okay, any other last comments or questions? Judy, I'm going to Korea early June. Nice. Me too. I'll be there from the end of this month, actually. Thinking of staying in Suwon. Yay! Any suggestions where to visit? Oh my God, yes, I do. Suwon, I know Suwon. Okay, I'm gonna teach you guys a funny expression. This is not Suwon dialect. This is Gyeongsang dialect. So this is like the Busan area, but you can use it other places of Korea too. Nawabari. Nawabari is it's a slang expression. We're not going to talk about, actually not slang, but it's a informal expression from the Busan, that sort of area. And it means stomping grounds. Essentially, it's like your hometown, your home ground, where you're from. It sounds like it's dialect though. So if you use it, people are going to kind of smile. So my Nawabari is Suwon. So I consider myself like a Suwon citizen because I travel around there a lot. If you're in Suwon, definitely check out the Suwon Fortress. Of course, you're going to see that whether you, if you search anything to do in Suwon, you're going to find that. I also recommend checking out the Tonggakgori. It's not going to be at the top of recommendation lists because it's literally just a chicken street. It's a street next to the Suwon River, which is part of the area where you're going to see like the Suwon Fortress if you walk around the whole thing. And it's an old marketplace area next to Suwon River where after the Korean War, people would set up chicken shops there to make fried chicken. They got fried chicken recipes from black soldiers or soldiers from the South during the Korean War. And Korea started making fried chicken in this area. They did in other places too, but especially in this area. They would take the chicken, kill it, and wash it in the river. Nowadays, you wouldn't do that because the river's kind of gross. But that's where they would wash them. So it's right next to the Suwon River. And they have some of the oldest chicken restaurants in Korea. Like one of them there is from like 72 or something like that. Some of the really old ones have since closed, but there is one from the early 70s there, I remember. They have wangalbi chicken, which is like so good. It's like galbi flavored chicken. Oh my God, it's so good. Anyway, they have a bunch of chicken restaurants there, really competitive. So all the chicken restaurants I've been to have been really good. And it's just a kind of a cool vibe to see like chicken everywhere you look. That's cool to check out. Let's see. And then anywhere else, though, you'd have to tell me like what things you like to do. They have a KBS filming studio in Suwon, but I don't know if they give tours that you can go to. I think they do, but I don't know what shows they have that they're doing there. But there is a filming studio that they have there where, depending on what they're currently working on, you might be able to see like parts of sets and stuff like that. There is a lot of restaurants there. I mean, and then other things like there's a cafe street. I did a video about that. If you search my channel for cafe, there's a cafe street that's kind of near Suwon as well. That just has a bunch of, pretty cafes. If you go there at nighttime, it's nice. Yeah, there's a bunch of little nice stuff though in Suwon. Do you use KakaoTalk in Korea? Yes. Everyone in Korea uses Kakao. If someone says they don't have Kakao, it means they don't want to give it to you. That doesn't mean call them out on it. Just accept that they don't want to give you their Kakao for whatever reason. Or maybe they don't want to give it out to anyone. So everyone has Kakao, at least as of today. And you should get it too if you don't have it. Donation made via PayPal. Nastaria. I was just about to finish the live stream. Thank you, Nastaria. Nastaria, sent. Nastaria sent me a $15 donation and says, I hope you're having a great day. Well, I am now. Thank you, Nastaria. I like that you're using the alarm, the little siren emoticon to get my attention. It works. Kai figured that out. I think it's good. I can easily see it. Hwasong Fortress and the area around there is pretty lovely. If you just walk around the Suwon Fortress, you're going to get a lot of stuff to do and see, which is why I'd say it's my main recommendation. It's not like one place you go to, take photos and leave. It's literally the entire fortress wall that goes around like an hour and a half path. And there are lots of places, there are lots of stops along the way. So you'll see a lot of cool stuff if you go there. Just don't go when it's too hot. As long as the weather's okay. Like June, you're going to be okay. July, it's going to be a bit hot. I probably wouldn't recommend walking around the whole thing in July unless you're like really okay with hot, humid weather. But June's usually okay. For handwriting, how do you do the M sound in one? The box-like one? Oh, I see what you're talking about. So, Kat, you actually want my Hanja cheat sheet because what you're talking about is the stroke order. And this has the stroke order of every single letter in Korean, including the one you're asking about, mium, right there. If you follow the stroke order, it's really easy to make what you're talking about. So the mium, stroke order, 1, 2. See, notice two is 1. I mean, it's 2, but it counts as 1, and then 3. So what happens if you do 1, 2, 3 quickly? 1, 2, 3, right? That's what you get. 1, 2, 3. So you get people that write it like that. You get that. You get that. I usually do like this, but you'll get people who just do it like that. Because it's, like I said, 1 is, I mean, the 1, wait, why am I going backward? 1, 2, and then you have to get to here to start the third one. So that's what they're doing. And there are a lot of characters that have different ways that they get written because of their stroke order. Like the hiet is like that. You see people like do this. You see people do this. You'll have the lir letter with 1, 2, 3. So 1, as long as you get to the spot, it doesn't matter how you do it. So people do like this, which is what I do also. Some people just do this to kind of give up, and that works okay because there's nothing else that looks just like that anyway. So yeah, learn the stroke order. That'll help you to read and write more like a native. I recently downloaded Kakao and the notification sound is way into my dreams. I turned off the notification sound. So yeah, I turned all that off. Do you have any lessons on how to read Hangul when it's done with fancy handwriting? Yes. I mean, I have lessons about the stroke order. I would just say get the cheat sheet. Just get the Hangul cheat sheet because 99% of what you're seeing people write is just the stroke order sloppily. What's the stroke order for P? That's the 1%. That's not. Normally it's this. But you can see this. Okay, usually what you see is people do it like this. So they do 1 and then 2, which is not the right stroke order, but that's how you see people do it. Some people might do this, but that's not really common. Usually I see people do this. Some people might do like that. Actually, it would still go to the right. Yeah, that's one of the ones. That's the one where they often don't write it according to the stroke order. Like I said, it should be like that, but you'll see people do that more often. Other ones, though, they do. Like this, for Tia, you'll see people do like this. This is the stroke order. This is the stroke order. It's correct. It just looks kind of weird. The shield is the same, the S letter. It just has to be here and starting from here. So how do you do that? Like that. Or this. Or this. That. That's also the same letter because it's the same thing. I wouldn't call it fancy though. I would just call it lazy. This also for the D letter, the Tiget, it starts here is where they both start. So as long as you're starting both from here, you have the right, it's 2. Two strokes. So 1, 2. As long as you're starting both of them from here, you're good. So you can do this. That's the D letter as well. Even though it doesn't look like it, you're imagining you're starting from up there. You're just not going all the way up there. Let me see. A lot of times when they're the K also, this one has a lot of shortcuts I see people do. So like if it's all sound, you'll see instead of doing this and then this separate, instead of doing this, you'll see people just do this. I do that too. Like when I wrote Konyong, I did it like this every single time. Oh, just right through the whole thing. Also, any letter that has that vowel, all, is common, or as well as A. It has this shape. It's common to combine it into whatever it's going into. So I'll show you. So the word mong, mong, e is like a puppy, mong mongi. Well, it's common also, people write this. Actually, I'll leave it up so you can see it. Okay. Mong, mong. So you just go, whatever the last part of the letter you're writing goes into it because it kind of wants to flow right into it. Anyway, yeah. So what you end up with is when you write it together like this, it kind of looks like you wrote. So let me see if I can write it a little bit better. See how it would look in the font. Yeah, like that. Okay. So what you get is kind of looks like you wrote tiga and then a and then young. And it especially looks like this in a font on the computer where mong kind of looks like tang. So people jokingly sometimes call dogs tang dengi. Sorry, tang dengi on the internet. It's like a slang, internet slang way of saying dog. And you're not going to say this so much in person. You might hear it though, people say it. But on the internet, you might hear people refer to tang dengi. And that's referring to mong mongi. Actually, sorry, not tang, it's this one. Yeah, tang dengi. As well as this one too. There we go. That's what I was trying to convey. Okay, now it makes more sense. So because this looks similar to this, right? This is tang and this is mong. But they kind of look similar. So if you write them kind of connected, if you smash everything together, then it looks like tang dengi. So you'll hear people talk about tang dengi for a puppy. That one was like an internet only slang, but it kind of broke through into the real world. I'm trying to think of what other words would be written like with really big shortcuts. I will say though, I was teaching this one, make sure you actually do this with the stroke order, no matter how you're doing it. No matter how you are writing this one, do it with the correct stroke order. Because if you don't, this one is written as 4 separate lines. The P letter. P is written with 4 separate lines. This is written 3 strokes, right? 3, 4. If you write miam and you do it like this, they might think you wrote this unless there's like plenty of extra space. They're going to think you wrote this one. So yeah, make sure there's an example I really want to share with you where my friend used a very inappropriate word while trying to write this, but using this instead. It's not uncommon that your word will look like a different word if you write this with 4 strokes. So don't do this with 4 strokes. It really looks like, to a Korean who's used to seeing stroke order, it really looks like this. Even though to you, you're like, oh, I totally see the square, right? Nope, it looks like this. Because they see 4 strokes more than they just see the shape. So yeah, always only 3 strokes with this. If you want to do it like this, if you want to do it perfectly, that's okay. Just do not make it separate. This part needs to be connected. Okay. Could you add a link to your beginner course? Sure. Let me add that right here. Your Korean Sam has a good video about reading handwriting. Yeah, she does. Yeah. Okay. I think that's good. Thank you everyone for coming. That was the lesson for today. Thank you for coming, and I will see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.